The County WCCS AM 1160 and 101.1 FM. He is State Police Public Information Officer, Trooper First Class Clifford Greenfield with us this morning. Good morning.
Yeah. Good morning, Todd. Thanks for having me. I appreciate the invitation.
Well, it's good to have you back in the studio. This is an important thing. You issued the news release the other day. Folks remember so well the Harmony Grove Lutheran Church fire.
Right.
And people wonder, is my church at risk? Is my house of worship? Is my barn or some other building that doesn't have a lot of traffic around it, is it at risk? And, well, state police are addressing those concerns, aren't you?
Yeah, that investigation is still under very active investigation. I'm not able to comment beyond that, but the residents of the county can be assured that the appropriate resources are being devoted to that investigation.
Yeah.
Nowadays, really since this past fall, we have now begun doing routine checks of churches and houses of worship, just like we do them at schools. So since the start of this school year, across the state, troopers are now checking on schools every day, morning, afternoon, evening, even on the midnight shift and on weekends. And we're now really promoting that for churches as well.
Is that a state police initiative statewide based upon the Tree of Life, or what led to it?
That incident, yes. Other incidents around the country, around the world. It's certainly something that is at the forefront of our minds when we're out on patrol now. Yeah. Our troopers are highly encouraged to stop at churches, to be seen in the area, to have that presence. That hopefully by our presence there, we may be able to deter some criminal activity and also give peace of mind to people who may be attending an event or a service at a church or house of worship. So I'd really like people to know that if they happen to see a trooper at a church, visiting a church, parked in the parking lot, it doesn't necessarily mean there's a problem there or we're conducting any sort of investigation. It may just be a routine check like we would do at a school.
By the way, Trooper Greenfield is with us, and you can join us on Facebook Live this morning and watch. As this has unfolded since the fall, as you said, and we wonder about, some churches have really lax procedures. Some churches actually leave the doors open for people who want to come in and pray. Used to be able to do that all the time with no repercussions at all. But it becomes more and more necessary in today's society that everything be locked up, buttoned up as tightly as possible.
Yeah, a lot of churches are actually now creating security teams or safety teams to respond to an emergency. And that certainly is a good thing, that the churches are becoming more and more prepared. We want them to be prepared. And when they form a team like that, it's not just for security reasons. They're also in place then to respond to a medical emergency, and that happens often in church services. Sure. Someone suffers a medical emergency, and an ambulance may need to be called. So you have a team in place that's prepared for that. They could also handle an incident like a lost child, or a minor, crash in their parking lot, something like that. So we are very much encouraging churches to take steps to become more prepared and aware. Yeah. In fact, just yesterday on our department Twitter feed, we put out a community awareness bulletin, and I'll hold this up here. We put these out periodically throughout the year. I would imagine this would be posted to our department website soon, which is psp.pa.gov. And we put these community awareness bulletins out because we believe these are topics that the public needs to be informed of. So this one that was released yesterday is entitled Protecting Houses of Worship and Faith-Based Events. So this is something that is so important that our department has taken steps to create a document here of recommendations for churches. Just over this past weekend, Friday through Sunday, troopers here at our Indiana barracks checked on or conducted 59 checks of churches throughout Indiana County this past weekend. Wow. So during their normal patrol duties, they're stopping at churches and just checking on things.
So what does that typical check do? What's that security check? What does it look like for folks who might see?
Basically, the troopers on patrol, and they can just choose to drive through a church parking lot or stop, get out of the car, walk up to the building. Generally, church services are open to the public, so the troopers certainly would be able to go into the church. And so we want people to know that just because a trooper's there, it doesn't mean there's a problem.
Yeah. Walk around the back maybe and take a look and see if there's something going on.
Yeah, we may walk around the perimeter of the building.
Yeah.
On evenings, midnight shift, the troopers could be stopping, perhaps checking for suspicious vehicles, suspicious people in the area, just as they would during the daytime.
Mm-hmm.
They could be checking for unlocked doors, unlocked windows, open windows. We're trying to reduce the opportunity for someone to engage in some criminal activity.
Is there a map or a database of all the houses of worship in Indiana County?
I'm not aware of that.
Mm-hmm.
There may be one. I'm not aware of it if there is.
Yeah, but certainly the guys and gals get out there in the cruisers. They know where the churches are and they're able to check them. That should put a lot of people's minds at ease, I would think.
I hope it does.
Yeah.
I really hope it does. And Indiana County is such a rural county that a church may be kind of out there away from Indiana, and it's good for them to know that we're aware of their church.
Yeah.
And even though it may be far from town.
I want to go back to where we started this conversation, and that was with Harmony Grove. With that, or with any fire investigation, any criminal activity, really,
Right.
You would love for the public to be able to say, I heard something, and even if they don't think it's really consequential but might be related, give you a call and let you decide whether it's something that needs further investigation.
Right. That's great advice. And actually, in this community awareness bulletin that we just published, we include examples of suspicious behavior.
Okay.
And I'll just read that off to you here. It says, understanding what is suspicious and where to report it is critical. Examples of suspicious behavior may include, but are not limited to, attempted breach or intrusion of a restricted area or protected site, misrepresentation or giving false information, vandalism, sabotage and tampering with part of the facility, attempting to elicit information beyond mere curiosity about the event, security or procedures, testing or probing security, and photography, video, or other surveillance. So those are just some of the key indicators of suspicious activity. If you were to see some activity like that, call us right away.
A lot of churches, of course, have cemeteries on the same property, and cemeteries are their own special problem, aren't they?
Right. I remember when I was on patrol, I served on our patrol unit here in Indiana from 2009 through 2015, and I would often drive through cemeteries.
Mm-hmm.
They're places where they're not heavily monitored usually, and so that creates an opportunity for someone to engage in criminal activity there.
Yeah. We have heard of drug parties, alcohol parties. You get into a cemetery and it's dark and everything, and you can get into the back areas of a cemetery where it is so completely shut off. And people could vandalize graves, they could steal from graves and those sorts of things. And, yeah, so that's, like I said, that's a whole different problem, but it's associated with houses of worship and all across Indiana County. It's a big deal.
Right.
It really is.
Right. And people who are engaging in drug use will often go and try and find a secluded area to ingest those drugs, which could be a cemetery or a remote church parking lot.
Yeah.
So we're certainly aware of that. There's a really good resource I'd like to mention to your listeners. This is a federal website. That's the FEMA website. So it's fema.gov/faith-resources. And so FEMA has created this website specifically for churches looking to increase their level of preparedness. Yeah. And some of the topics on that website are trauma, resilience, and stress management resources, webinars, trainings, testing your plan. So once a church has created an emergency plan, which they really should have, then they can check this website for ways to test that plan, things like tabletop exercises or drills, and religious and cultural literacy and competency in disasters. And so when you create an emergency plan like that, certainly it should address security concerns, but it could also address and should address a natural disaster.
Yeah.
We've seen so much flooding here in Indiana County that churches have been affected by that.
Absolutely. All right. So churches, there's your call. You've got to get a plan in place. And every organization seems to have extra requirements in this day and age to have special security measures, safety measures. And if churches do that, obviously, that would be a great advantage.
Right. Thanks.
All
And
right.
if I could quickly note, on May 23rd at Hilltop Baptist Church at 6 p.m., there will be a training event for churches in the area to help them develop their emergency plans.
Oh, yeah.
And this is being put on by the Faith Team of Indiana County. If you're interested in that, you have to register for the event. Contact the Indiana County Department of Human Services to register for that, and it's a free training.
Terrific. We'll have Lisa Spencer. I think she's in next hour, as a matter of fact, and she's Department of Human Services, so we'll ask her about that.
Okay.
Beautiful, beautiful. Clifford Greenfield, thanks so much for coming in.
Thank you, Todd. Appreciate it.
All righty. It is the voice of Indiana County, WCCS, AM 1160, 101.1 FM.